When brand side sponsorship teams ask, what does a good activation ratio look like? Well, they're not asking a theoretical question. They're looking for a reality check. Are we underinvesting? Are we in the right range? Will this stand up with leadership or procurement? The most honest starting point is this: most brand owners underactivate. More often than not, the investment brand owners are making behind sponsorship rights simply isn't enough to unlock their full value. That's no longer invisible. It shows up in dashboards, in attribution models, and in post campaign reviews. Brand owners see the gap clearly, they just don't always call it what it is. That's why the question keeps resurfacing. It's less about curiosity and more about discomfort with the gap between spend and outcomes. Here's the reality: there is no single right activation ratio. Mature sponsorship portfolios, they operate within target ranges, not fixed ratios. And defining those ranges properly forces clear trade-offs about what can realistically be activated well. In competitive markets, sponsorship only works if the brand shows up consistently and visibly. A ratio that looks efficient internally can actually fail commercially if it doesn't deliver enough presence in the market. Activation ratios matter because they create discipline. They force a total investment view of sponsorship and prompt a simple question: what are we prepared to invest to make these rights matter? Used properly, ratios act as guardrails. They prevent organizations from buying more sponsorship than they have the budget, the resources, or the marketing calendar to effectively activate. They also create a shared language across marketing, finance, and procurement so that we can't afford to activate this properly becomes a defensible decision and not just a vague concern. Where ratios go wrong is when they're used after the fact as efficiency metrics or explanations for why less was done. Well, that's backwards. Their job is to align ambition with delivery before deals are signed. So why does the right ratio vary? Well, because context varies. Market dynamics matter. Fair market share matters. Property type matters. Community level properties rely heavily on activation to create both visibility and meaning. On the other hand, major platforms come with built-in audiences and might require less incremental spend per dollar of rights fee. Treating these as the same is where ratios can fall apart. That's why optimized brand sponsorship organizations don't chase benchmarks. They define activation ranges by both geography and by property type. Those ranges don't standardize outcomes, but they do standardize thinking. And here is the real risk. The biggest threat in sponsorship today isn't overactivation, it's the opposite. Buying more rights than you can possibly activate, then wondering why results disappoint. Activation ratios don't fix everything, but used properly, they protect activation, they reinforce governance, and they separate organizations that just buy rights from those that consistently turn rights into outcomes. If you're a brand owner and need help setting your activation ratio targets, well, we can help with that. Let's connect.